Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name's Ben. I'm a meditation and spiritual teacher, and in today's video I'm going to be answering questions that a load of my followers on Instagram have asked me. I did a poll on Instagram asking about people's anything that people were curious about with regards to meditation and spirituality. And so I've got the questions here on my phone, so you might see me looking down and referring to these questions. But I'm going to go through about 10 of them and just answer them because I think they'll be really, really helpful to you. If you're a meditator, if you're a spiritual seeker, I think you'll find a lot of value in some of these questions and answers. If you're new to my channel, as I said, my name is Ben. I'm a meditation and spiritual teacher. I started meditating when I was about 6 years old. My dad was a meditation teacher, and I was taught by him and then also a few other people, but specifically a divine master, what is known as an avatar. So I'm very much learning myself still. I still consider myself a student. I think that's healthy for all of us to still be in this state of mind of openness and wanting to learn. But I do have a good amount of knowledge, and it's one of the reasons why I created this channel. And so, yeah, I'm going to go through this and answer these questions as best as I can with the knowledge that I've got, my understanding, my experience, and yeah, let's see where it goes. Hopefully it helps you. So the first, oh yeah, by the way as well, I've got a online meditation and spiritual school. It's called the Inner Journey School. I'll put a link down in the description. We have live sessions all through the week, loads of meditation lessons. It's an amazing, amazing community. I'll put a link down below. The first question is what to do about deja vu and dreaming future events that seem to happen. Well, one of the ways I like to look at existence is a bit like a book, and I've got my notebook here. So everything has already been and gone. Existence is here and now. Your future is already here and now. Your past is already here and now. We're just with our human mind experiencing it almost day by day. This is one way of looking at it, is that we are experiencing it day by day because our human mind couldn't take all of it at one go. We would miss it. So it's quite feasible and quite, it does happen that some people are tapping into the vibration of their future, or the part of them that already knows this, the part of them that is already experiencing this is now being felt in the present moment. So it's very much, I like to see it as a gift. I like to see it as the divine showing you that you're not as limited as you think you are. You're not as confined to just what you're experiencing now. You're everything. You are everything that has been. You're everything that's going to come. You're just experiencing it in a limited way at the moment. So I like to see it as a gift. I don't think there's anything that you need to do about it. It's there to remind you. It's there to teach you. This earth, this plane that we're on, in fact, all of the planes, they're like schools. You work your way up from reception, year 1, year 2, year 3. At least this is the UK model, all the way up to year 11, and then you go on to college or university. But in each plane or in each class, you have different lessons to learn. And once you kind of pass those tests, or once you learn what you need to learn, you move on. So yeah, everything is here to teach us. The next question is, I can see things during meditation. What does it mean? I mean, it greatly depends on what it is that you're seeing. I wouldn't actually, a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on the meaning behind certain visions and things in meditation. It can be helpful, but it can also be a big hindrance, because the problem is that the mind is so clever. It will present lots of images that mean nothing, and they're just there to distract you. And often, especially with beginners, they will get crossed over and they will start thinking that what they're seeing is some kind of special image that has some specific meaning behind it, and they'll Google it, and there's always an answer because someone has already had that kind of image and has decided that this is what it means. And they'll start placing a lot of meaning and attachment on something that was purely a creation of their mind, their imagination. It might not be. It might be a spiritual experience. But in any case, as a spiritual seeker, and this is my personal opinion now, is I'm striving for the divine. I don't care about these little peripheral experiences, and I don't mean that to disrespect anyone, but I don't give them as much energy. I don't give them as much attention because they take me away from my main goal, my main North Star, which for me is to realize the divine. So personally, I wouldn't put much emphasis on what they mean. I just enjoy them If they are genuine, then amazing. That shows you that you're progressing and that things are happening and your consciousness is changing. But after a few minutes, just let that go and come back to the meditation as best you can, unless it's something that's, you can't get rid of, and then move on. That would be my advice with this. How does one know whether one is truly in service to others or serving to boost ego? I think you have to use your reason, and you have to sit with yourself and ask yourself honestly, what are you looking to gain from doing this particular act? And I think it's if you're doing an act of service, if you're helping others, and you can honestly say and reflect that you're not doing it with any desire or any want in anything in return, not even a thank you, not even a pat on the back, then that is pure service. But I would say that there's levels to service. And I would say that if you're wanting to help someone, but you have this simmering of, oh, I wonder what people are going to think of me, that's just the ego coming up in that moment. You've still got the ability to let that go and say, no, I know that's my ego that's appearing now. I'm going to do this thing out of goodness. I'm going to do this out of purity because I want to help. So the ego will always try and kind of interfere and get in the way of you doing something and try and kind of dilute the purity of the act, but you can still be there in a way on guard and aware, so that when the ego does arise and when it does try and wriggle in, you can push it out the way and continue in a pure manner. What happens often with people is they have this pure idea, they think, I want to help, and sneakily the ego weaves its way in, and before they know it, they're doing the act for their own gain, whether it's telling everyone about it on Instagram after, whether it's wanting thank you and praises for it, whatever it might be, the ego will very cleverly slither in. So just be aware of that. But it is tricky because that part of us is always there, the ego. Next question, how to start meditation for beginners other than watching the breath? You've got to join the Inner Journey School. There's a link down in the description. No, I'm kidding. There's lots of ways that you can learn. It is genuinely better, and I'm not trying to sell anyone on this. It is genuinely better to have a teacher. I had a teacher. There's no way I would have learned what I have learned and made the progress that I feel I have made without guidance. Absolutely no way. I wouldn't have done it. So I do think it's important to find a teacher, but you do need to be careful because there's a lot of people that aren't particularly well experienced as teachers. I don't feel like they've been through their own apprenticeship with this work. My personal opinion, it is hard to find a teacher. But if you want to learn a meditation technique outside of just following the breath, just YouTube it. I compile everything within my school, everything that I know, some of which is on the internet, some of which might not be, but I put it all within the school so it's easy for everyone to access. But the information is out there. We're living in this amazing period of time where we can pretty much access anything. So a bit of searching, bit of work, and you will find other techniques. If you really want to, you will find other techniques. Just Google it. This is a great question. How do I go from believing in to knowing the divine? Belief doesn't feel solid to me. Belief is the bridge between knowing and not knowing. Bridge is the thing that creates this gap between I don't know what's true and I'm going to know what's true one day. This is faith. This is belief. And belief in any endeavor is essential. If I want to set up a business and I have aspirations, okay, I want to make 50,000 a year from this business. I've got the idea. I'm going to do it. If I don't believe I can do it, then no matter what I do, I'm not going to make this thing work. I need to have this faith and this belief that this idea that I've got has legs, it has potential. And that is the thing that bridges the gap between my idea and the reality, the experience of that idea. So in any endeavor, we need that faith. And I do get it because spirituality is different in that it's so much an inward journey. It's hard to verify anything. It's hard to measure and mark anything. But I think that you just have to take the word of people that have. You have to have that faith. You have to have that inner feeling of this is right. I know it's right. And there'll be the ego. There'll be the voice within you that doesn't want you to go down the path, which is the voice of doubt. That ego will do whatever it can to deter you from following this path, because the more you start to realize who you are, the less needed the ego is. So just be aware of that. But yeah, you do need faith. You do need that belief, and there's nothing other than that. There's nothing else that you can do other than believe. Eventually that belief and the work will carry you into knowing, because you will eventually experience more that will give you knowing. But initially you do need that faith, that belief. Our conditioning, what our friends say, what other people around us say, all impact, for a lot of people at least, their belief and the strength of it. And many people get deterred because their friend says it's a load of rubbish, or they read some article about a teacher that suddenly puts them off them. But you have to have strong, unwavering faith. It's just part of it. Next question is the abdominal breathing, diaphragmatic, a good way to prepare for meditation? Yes, it is. Any kind of deep breathing, steady deep breathing. So as good as some of the Wim Hof methods are, and other methods out there that are quite rigorous, they get you fired up too much for me. Deep, slow, steady breathing, Qigong, or any kind of calming, rhythmic breathing helps massively for meditation. It starts to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, starts to lower the heart rate, gradually calm the mind down. Everything that you need to start your meditation in a good way, diaphragmatic, steady breathing will give you. So yeah, absolutely. What difference do you see in yourself after all these years, and what are you seeking now? I would be here for a very long time if I was to list all of the things that are different about me. I think the biggest difference is I'm not the same person at all that I was even 3 years ago. That person's died. I would say, I nearly said millions, hundreds of my different personalities have died, and what it's shown me, and I knew this anyway, but through experiencing it more, it's shown me that the personality is nothing. The personality is a construct. The personality is created, and the personality isn't who we are. It doesn't define us. It's nothing. We're much more beyond that. And so I've overcome many different types of me, if you like, many different seasons of me. So I'm continually learning. I would say the main thing that's changed is that I feel more in service of others now. So for a long time, it was all about my growth, my progression. What can I attain? What can I achieve? What can I get? What's my life going to look like? And naturally, this stronger and stronger and stronger desire to teach and to help and to serve has developed, and that has kind of overshadowed the I that wanted all of these other things, if that makes sense. So I would say a more selfless aspect has generated in me. That's probably the most profound thing, the most notable thing. What was the other part of the question? What are you seeking now? I'm seeking now, and I was seeking then, the divine. And I'm learning more about the divine. I'm experiencing more of the divine every single day. To a greater or lesser degree, I'm constantly understanding more. I'm understanding that I don't know much, which is a classic experience that seekers will have. But I am experiencing more of the divine, and I think I am understanding more. And the more I understand, the more questions arise, but I'm still understanding more. So yeah, it's never changed. I am seeking the divine. I have always been seeking the divine, and I will not stop seeking the divine until I become that, and until I merge with that. And that might sound arrogant, by the way, but you do need that conviction. You need that single-mindedness. When I meditate, after a few days, I became apathetic. I think that's how I've spelt it. Any suggestions? This is common. So often people will feel emotionless. They will feel kind of empty or unmotivated about life. And what you have to remember is that we've been so conditioned to think that it's totally normal to be high one day, low the next, up here, have these erratic emotions that almost everyone has. And that's not how we're designed to live. We have developed this way because we've allowed the ego to run around too much. But actually, when you start meditating and doing things like this, and you start to overcome all of this, and you start to move beyond these drastic fluctuations in emotions, there's just this isness, this oneness, this, as they say in Zen, the mind of no mind, just this neutrality. And the baseline of this neutrality rises and connects more and more with peace and bliss. So you initially will kind of peel away these emotions and there'll just be this emptiness, which feels very strange initially. But what you'll find is that from that emptiness, everything arises out of silence. Everything arises out of emptiness. So from this emptiness, in a way, you've emptied yourself enough for your true light, your true nature to actually sprout. So you'll feel more peace within you. You'll feel more love within you, more bliss within you. That will become more of your natural unwavering state. And these up and downs, the up and downs of the emotions that many people are just victim to, that will not be the case anymore. You will start to remove all of that, and you'll start to overcome all of that. That is when you're getting to higher and higher places. What was the other question? It was still related to that. There was another thing I was going to mention about that. The up and down of the emotions, the baseline. No, I think that's it. Yeah, you're just going to adapt. You're going to find that so many people are used to having strong aspirations for the world as well. This is the other point I was going to make. So many people have desire for things within the world. They're motivated to get this, to win that, to achieve this. But when you take to this spiritual path, for a lot of people, not everyone, but for a lot of people, they'll start to lose that desire. They'll start to lose that need and want for things within the world. In a way, the motivation. And it's totally normal on the path, but we're so used to putting success alongside achieving worldly things, accolades, positions in our jobs and all of this. We're so used to labeling that as success that actually when we start to become more detached from the world, which in a spiritual sense is success, we think something's wrong. But actually in a spiritual sense, you're moving in a good direction. You're detaching from the world a bit. And this doesn't mean that you don't care about the world. It doesn't mean that you push the world to one side and you ignore it. You still live in the world, but you're no longer of the world, as Jesus said. You live in the world, but you're not of the world. You live it with one foot in the spiritual realm, your spiritual world, and one foot in your everyday world, but you're not consumed by it. So this is a natural change that you're finding is happening to you. It's very normal. Just know that it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. You will adjust to this. It just feels alien at the moment because of you're so used to your previous way of living, the emotions, wanting things and all of that. You will adjust to this with time. So I'm going to leave it at that for the questions for today. Thanks everyone. If any of my Instagram followers also follow me on YouTube, thanks so much for the questions. They're really, really good. If you enjoyed this video today and you want me to answer more questions, feel free to ask a load of questions or any questions in the comments. And if there's enough, I'm happy to do another Q&A video like this. But thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.